listening to Republic Broadcasting Network because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And welcome to our show today. It's Tuesday, May 12th, 2020, getting into the week here. We got a lot to talk about today. As usual, the phone lines will open at the bottom of the hour, but Mike is in our control room, twiddling the dials and keeping us out of trouble for the time being here. Quick little program note, tomorrow's show will be a rebroadcast. I have to go to the doctors, and they're going to do some tests, and they're going to knock me out, so I'm going to be loopy by showtime. But I'll be back here live on Thursday. So let's get into the news here. For me, at least, I hope for you as well, the big breaking story is the whole collapse of Russiagate and the rise of Obamagate and all those people who basically tried to sabotage Donald Trump. They're panicking. They're running around in circles and screaming and shouting here. And I'm looking at this story that came out of Domagood.com about how the investigation into the origins of the Russian probe is going full throttle. And apparently, U.S. Attorney for Connecticut, John Durham, is joined by U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Missouri, Jeff Jensen, and interim U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Timothy Shea, basically talking about how, they're preparing indictments. Crimes were committed here, including perjury before Congress, at the very least. So Clinton, Rice, and Obama are sweating bullets. New evidence is continuing to emerge. And again, another article from rightwingnewshour.com. The only candidate who was colluding with Russia was Hillary Clinton. We pointed that out yesterday. There was the Uranium One deal. There was basically having Christopher Steele go to Russia and try and dig up the dirt on Donald Trump, apparently with the cooperation of some of the Russian authorities. That's collusion right there. So Hillary Clinton colluded with the Russians to falsely accuse Donald Trump of colluding with the Russians, is really what it comes down to. Now, the FBI is caught holding the smoking gun while standing over the still warm body. When the investigators are investigating the investigators, nothing ever seems to happen. This time, John Durham is expected to turn the tables and do something different. Now, Christopher Steele was recently interrogated by the Russian bankers who are suing him for lying about them. What he told them seems to prove there really was a candidate in the 2016 election colluding with Russia, and that was Hillary Rodham Clinton. So Trump is accusing Obama of the biggest political crime in history, and a lot of people are saying, does this exceed Watergate? It's certainly close in the running, I think. I think it's definitely close in the running. We're talking about an outgoing president working with the machinery of government to sabotage the incoming president. You had Obama, who was about to step down, go to the head of the FBI, Comey, and say, investigate my successor so I can work against him. And Comey said, yes, sir. Now, the Wall Street Journal argues that Obama is getting very nervous. As well, he should. This will affect his legacy. You know, people look back at Richard Nixon and all they think about is Watergate. And they don't look at the good things that he did. Probably most people can't even remember the good things he did, because Watergate overshadows them all. And this is what's going to happen to Obama. Future historians are going to look back at Obama, the Obama presidency, and say, oh, yeah, that was that whole Russiagate thing. Now, Trey Gowdy has come out saying he made mistakes relying on the FBI's word on Russiagate. Well, yeah, anytime you rely on the word of the FBI, you're making a big mistake and you're going to be made to look foolish. So Russiagate collapses, as we mentioned the other day. CrowdStrike is now admitting there was never any evidence that Russia stole emails from the DNC servers. It was all made up. Of course, as we reported yesterday, there is now evidence that Seth Rich was in contact with WikiLeaks all along. Now, Obama official Evelyn Farkas has admitted lying on MSNBC about having evidence of collusion between Trump and the Russians. They were all lying to you. Doesn't it make you angry? Don't you get mad when you get lied to? These people are supposed to work for you. That's the way the rules were set up. Well, if you're an employer and you've got an employee who's lying to you, what do? You just nod and say, yes, 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 and go back to pretending that everything is all right? Or do you go to that employee and say, you're lying, you're fired? Fire the liars. That should be our new motto going into the 2020 general election. Fire the liars. Anybody who was caught lying in this, get them out of there. Because if you live under a government that lies, you don't know what's going on in the world. You don't know what they're using your money for. They don't know what your children are dying for in those foreign wars. They're just saying whatever they think you want to hear so they can hang on to power. Now, Clinton campaign attorney Mark Elias admitted in testimony he sent the bill from Fusion GPS, which acted as the go-between for Christopher Steele, and he sent that bill directly to the campaign manager, Robbie Mook. So this is reported by the Gateway Pundit, and thanks to the newly released transcripts, Hillary campaign chairman John Podesta admitted during testimony that both the DNC and Hillary campaign split the cost of the bogus Trump-Russia dossier that launched the attempted coup against Donald Trump. My question is, what's Trump going to do about it besides tweeting? I mean, he's tweeting all over the place, here a tweet, there a tweet, everywhere, tweet. That's all well and good. But, there's an old saying that when you go after the king, you better make sure you succeed because the payback will be a bitch. Except I'm not seeing any yet. Where's that Donald Trump that got up there on that reality TV show and said, you're fired? The Apprentice, that was it. Where's that Donald Trump? Because that was the Donald Trump we thought we were voting for. Somebody who'd get up there in Washington, D.C. and drain the swamp and say, you're fired, and you're fired, and you're fired. Get out of here. Everybody who's on that declassified list of all Obama administration officials who were involved in unmasking Michael Flynn should be fired. Their names are being handed over to the Department of Justice. William Barr may be prosecuting them, but that's all well and good. If any of them are still in government, they should be fired. They should be banned from public life for the rest of their lives. We can't have people like that in government and have a functioning nation, as you can plainly see with your own eyes. Now it's coming out that James Clapper may have lied to Congress about briefing Obama on the Flynn Kislyak calls. Pardon me. Former DNI James Clapper told Congress he did not brief President Obama on then incoming National Security Advisor Michael Flynn's calls with the Russian ambassador, but former FBI Director James Comey said he did. We've got a he said situation going here, but one thing is obvious, somebody's lying. And we literally cannot tolerate that anymore. Let me ask you this. For those of you who are parents, would you tolerate your children lying like this? Then why do you tolerate politicians lying like this? Time to wash out some mouths with some soap, I think. Not too surprisingly, out in Hollywood, all the liberal celebrities are out there defending Obama. He meant well. He meant well. Oh, there's no Obamagate. He really meant well. All those left-wing Hollywood stars. Oh, man. By the way, speaking of left-wing Hollywood stars, they're actually postponing the Academy Awards this year because of the coronavirus lockdown. There are too few new releases, so they're going to delay that. Getting on over to our other political news here. Joe Biden is still hunting for a vice president, and apparently, according to reports, Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren are the top two contenders in the hunt for VP, and other sources are saying Harris reportedly is in the lead. At least it's not Hillary. I won't really be able to relax until the Democratic convention is over and Hillary is not on the ticket. Then I'll kick back, have a little relaxing time here. Now, MSNBC and CNBC founder Tom Rogers, who's currently the editor-at-large with Newsweek, believes that Joe Biden is not ready for prime-time election season and has been unable to articulate a winning message, even with all the softball interviews he's been doing. And we've observed that as well. And I'm looking forward to when he actually debates Donald Trump, because he's going to have to do that. There's no way he can move forward without debating Donald Trump, and Trump is going to eat him alive. Now, yesterday we were talking about how the governor of South Carolina could put the kibosh on the GOP convention because of the coronavirus. I said there probably ought to be some other options. Apparently, the Democrats are already thinking that could be a possibility. They're looking at, or at least some of the Democrats are considering virtual options for the summer convention, which is scheduled for August. And they want to allow virtual or socially distanced elements. I mean, spreading it out more and allowing more of it to take place through Zoom and Microsoft Teams and so forth and so on. There is another point of view, however. There's a political consultant to the Democrats who wants to energize the Democrats with a giant holographic Joe Biden at the convention. Giant holograph Joe Biden. Wow, that'll get him excited. Not. Just more special effects. We're supposed to be picking the future leader of this country who represents the values and the will of the American people. Not the bankers, not the war machine. Speaking of the war machine and getting into the international news, that botched infiltration of Venezuela leaves Guaido tainted beyond repair. Everybody now knows he was up to his neck in this whole thing. The contract was leaked out with Silvercorp. And it was the gang that couldn't shoot straight. It was Bay of Pigs 2.0. They didn't even make it onto the beach before they got stopped by the military. It almost makes you wonder, was it intended that they be caught and these two Americans get captured? Because now the U.S. has an excuse. Yes, you give us our Americans back. We had nothing to do with this invasion, but you give us our Americans back here. So, story coming out of popularresistance.org, the U.S. wants the release of two veterans who led the failed coup attempt in Venezuela. They're actually making that demand right now. Personally, if they were really disinterested, they would just leave it alone and say, look, you guys invaded a foreign country with hostile intent. You're going to have to pay the price for it. At the very least, they're guilty of violating the Logan Act. They're engaging in foreign policy, which they're not supposed to. The U.S. could use that as an excuse. Give us these two or we're invading. That puts Maduro in a very delicate position, because if he surrenders these two guys, it'll be seen as encouraging more attempts on his life. And if he doesn't surrender the two guys, then the U.S. has an excuse to invade. Maybe it was a setup. Maybe it was intended for these clowns to get captured in the first place. And I feel bad for all those others who got killed and captured. They didn't realize they were being set up, sacrificial lambs, as it were. Now, believe it or not, the United Nations Security Council put together a resolution for a global ceasefire during the COVID-19 epidemic. And it was just really simple. Basically, all parties to regional armed conflicts to stop hostilities, secure a ceasefire, and introduce a humanitarian pause. Guess which nation vetoed it? The United States of America. That's going to make us look bad. Not that we look all that good to the rest of the world anyway here. Meanwhile, over in the Middle East, Pompeo and Netanyahu are acting like two mobsters plotting Palestine's eradication. And apparently, Pompeo's visit to Israel to discuss the Zionist regime's planned annexation of the West Bank region with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is like the gathering of two mobsters plotting to eradicate Palestinians from their indigenous homeland. Now, let me ask you a question. How would you feel if tomorrow Netanyahu got up and said, well, we're going to annex Manhattan, or we're going to annex California? Because that's about as legitimate as saying we're going to annex Palestine. It's a fancy word for steal. Now, the difference, of course, is that in theory, at least, the United States can defend themselves against an invasion by Israel. With all those wonderful weapons the U.S. gave to Israel, of course, it will be difficult. The Palestinians are rather defenseless. Just like that. What if tomorrow Israel says we're annexing the United States? The whole thing. How would you feel about that? Well, that's how the Palestinians feel. And Israel's out there trying to say, well, no, this will be a good thing. Really, the Palestinians want us to come in and take over. You know, that's like saying, you Americans, you want us Israelis to come in and take over. Not that they haven't already grabbed a huge chunk. Anyway, religious leaders all through the area are expressing their concern about what annexation is going to mean for the numerous holy sites. And as a result of the stagnation of the peace process in the Middle East between the Israelis and Palestinians, and we know who was stagnating it, an array of plans for Israel to unilaterally annex West Bank land backed mainly by right-wing factions and the United States of America raises serious and catastrophic questions about the feasibility of any peaceful agreement to end the decades-long conflict, one that continues to cost many innocent lives as part of a vicious cycle of human tragedy and injustice. The Council of Patriarchs and heads of the Holy Land churches view such unilateral annexation plans with the utmost concern and calls upon the state of Israel to refrain from such unilateral moves, which could bring about the loss of any remaining hope for the success of the peace process. Frankly, it could start a war. And it probably will. And yes, it'll be a one-sided war, but the Palestinians have shown in the past they don't care. It's their land and their homes they're fighting for. Earlier today, Dr. Anthony Fauci had a session at the U.S. Senate, and they testified to the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee. Much of it was done virtually. Fauci himself was testifying remotely. The chairman of the committee was there remotely, and they were all spread out 6 feet apart. And it's the first time in history that a Senate session has involved virtual components. Basically, what he told the committee is that opening the U.S. economy too soon will lead to needless suffering and death, the exact same wordage that he used when he sent an editorial to the New York Times. Now they're saying New York City won't open until September because it's those tightly packed urban areas where most of the coronavirus is happening. In fact, if it keeps going like this, they're going to stop calling it the China virus and they're going to start calling it the New York virus, because that's where it's all coming from. The Pentagon just did another study showing that having the flu vaccine increases your risk of contracting coronavirus by 36%. So all you anti-vaxxers who avoided the flu shot this year, good on you. You guessed correctly here. Another study is showing the fatality rate of COVID-19 is pretty close to a bad flu. It's not the slate wiper everybody said it was going to be right at the very, very beginning. Okay, White House staff, including Jared Kushner, finally wear masks after Donald Trump's valet and Mike Pence's press secretary test positive. But the president is still barefaced. Supposedly, Trump ordered the White House staff to all wear masks, but he himself is not. Now, here is something that's probably going to keep you awake at night. If Donald Trump comes down with the coronavirus and is unable to work, and if Mike Pence comes down with the coronavirus and is unable to work, guess who gets to be president? Nancy Pelosi. Now, I bet she's out there already just burning a black candle and saying, you know, don't feel good, don't feel good. Can you imagine how much damage she could do just with a week in that Oval Office? Amazing here. But there is a coronavirus cluster apparently starting in the White House, and people are very, very concerned. President Pelosi, ooh, God, my skin is crawling at the thought of that. All righty, let's see. Lockdown-free Stockholm could achieve herd immunity in May. Herd immunity means the people who didn't die from it. That's what it really means. So apparently the Swedish ambassador has revealed 30% of the city's population already have immunity. We're going to take a break for commercials, and we'll be right back.
Oh, yeah. It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. We here at RBN are working with Front Sight Firearms Training Institute to bring our audience the best in combat, tactical, and defensive firearms training. Whether you're a private citizen who is new to firearms or you have a concealed weapon permit and want a level of training that surpasses what you've received from your local gun range, Front Sight provides priceless education and skills taught by seasoned law enforcement, military, and private citizen instructors to levels that far exceed law enforcement and military standard. With nearly 1 million responsible citizens trained from every town, city, and state from across the United States, Front Sight has bolstered the Patriot movement to a whole new level. Contact Dan Sutterfield by phone at 573-762-2356 or 573-465-2356 or shoot him an email at domedan, DOMEDAN at hotmail.com. This is a limited time opportunity. Don't miss it.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay. Unemployment getting worse every day.
You muted, Mike? Hello?
I'm sorry, I forgot to put my volume up there. My bad, my bad. It's a hardware problem. Loosen it on the keyboard, or in this case, the mixer. Anyway, a reminder that Republic Broadcasting is in the middle of a perpetual fundraiser, and we need your help to keep doing what we're doing. So the postal address where you can send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity cash, is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. The phone number where you can do a credit or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. The network thanks you. I need to rig up a switch on this mixer so that the on-air light actually goes on when I'm on the air, because right now it can be very confusing. All righty, so getting on back to coronavirus. Sooner or later, this was bound to happen with prisoners being released for having, to keep them from getting coronavirus. Apparently, on a security camera in LA County lockup, they caught 21 inmates trying to infect each other deliberately with coronavirus in order to secure an early release. And they were sharing a cup of hot water. and breathing into the same face mask. And of course, now that they were caught doing that, if they do come down with coronavirus, too bad you're not getting out. Okay, over in Michigan, Governor Whitmer has asked the police to arrest a barber. Sheriff says, heck no. And apparently a volunteer civilian militia guarded the barber shop and refused to let the police enter. So this is really getting tense there. And Whitmer is out there basically frothing at the mouth saying, these are not suggestions. These are orders and they are not optional. So she's tripling down on her ego trip, I guess, for lack of anything better. Megachurch pastor Brian Gibson has announced he plans to open the doors for worship gatherings at all 4 of his congregations this Sunday in support of Americans' First Amendment rights, and he's calling on all places of worship nationwide to do the same. We'll see if that really happens. Claire's church is due to open the middle of June. And we already talked about this, but the Oscars organizers are making plans to postpone the 93rd Academy Awards by 4 months as a lack of new releases during coronavirus shutdown threatens the 2021 awards season. It'll be middle of next year before we get to see who takes home the Oscar. Not that anybody watches those anymore. Have you seen how bad the ratings have been in recent years? I think people are getting tired of the Hollywood elites congratulating themselves. That's what all these award shows are. I'm great. I'm wonderful. See, I have a gold thing. Sink. They're seen them. Okay. Elon Musk is out there saying, arrest me. He has defied the coronavirus lockdown restrictions and reopened his Tesla plant in California after suing local officials for ordering it to remain shut until June. So they've started back up. There was an aerial shot on Fox News of the parking lot there at the plant. It was full of cars, people wanting to go back to work, people wanting to build those cars. And Musk has already announced he's going to move the Tesla headquarters out of California. He's just had all the regulations and taxes up to here. And that prompted some response from California legislators, including a few that were a little bit profane, didn't really look all that respectable and what we like to think of as restrained, rational government here. But Donald Trump tweeted his support for Elon Musk after he opened that Tesla plant. Now, here's a good one. Uber co-founder Travis Kalanick has bought a $43.3 million Bel Air mansion while 3,500 staff from ride-hailing firm are laid off. And because they're not considered regular employees, they don't get unemployment. He laid them all off in a 3-minute Zoom conference call. Started moving into his new home. 43 million sounds like an awful lot, but mostly you're paying for that prestige Bel Air address. Nancy Pelosi has drafted a $750 billion state bailout bill. The Republicans were not invited to collaborate. And handing out the money like crazy. Shale giant Chesapeake is in trouble because of the recent oil price crash. They may go bankrupt. And once again, the U.S.-China trade talks are failing miserably. It's almost like Groundhog Day. You keep going through the same thing over and over and over again. Not so with pork processing. This story kind of bothered me a little bit because we're hearing about how pigs are having to be euthanized and we can't get the meat to the American markets. And yet, U.S. processing plants have quadrupled pork exports to China. Shouldn't we be keeping this meat at home for the American people? We're going to take another break for commercials, and we'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly,
The new Ease Off Model Easy 4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The Ease Off lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the Ease Off? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my Ease Off?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry because we are offering $200 off on the new Easy 4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows too. Ease Off LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we have been building our online store. Well, we have been focusing on bringing you the best talk show host in the country. Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we also want our listeners to have products they can use every day and in times of emergency. We have added new products each week to our store. Your support of this network, plus products at the best prices, is a win-win situation. Check out our new store. Go to our website, republicbroadcasting.org, and click on the online store located at the top of our website. Together, we can continue to grow RBN and help our listeners prepare for the future. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and click on our online store or call us.
800-724-2719, extension 3. 800-724-2719, extension 3.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When your doctor tells you you have bad cholesterol or blockages in the arteries, what do? When diet and exercise is not enough, we try medications and hope for the best. For the last 2 decades, I have been telling people about a natural method to help solve these problems and more. Extendovite can help maintain cardiovascular health and lower blood lipid levels in adults. The 7 herbs in Extendovite are known to work together synergistically to get the results we hope for. There are many testimonials on Extendovite's effect on circulatory-related ailments. Get Extendovite today to start your journey back to a healthier life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or see us on amazon.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. We'll plant them anywhere you like and blow up anyone. Whip this world into a frenzy, killing babies, dads, and moms. If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. If you got the money, well, we won't say we did. The towers in New York.
And welcome back to our show here. Now, Twitter has anointed itself the arbiter of coronavirus truth with a pledge to label even disputed and unverified claims as disinfo. They're even threatening to do it to President Trump's tweets. Now, this, of course, is typical of the arrogance of social media corporations who have decided to themselves that they themselves should control what's the people are seeing. But here's my question. What makes Twitter any more competent or able to tell what's right and wrong, truth and false, fact and fancy than anybody else? Twitter is imposing their opinions on the material coming through. They're not qualified doctors over there. They're software engineers, and they've got a very successful platform going, but that doesn't qualify them as medical experts. Nobody really seems to know what's going on with coronavirus, even at this late date. It's all a matter of opinion. And I hate to sound arrogant myself here, but my opinion is just as valid as that of Twitter. So why is Twitter asserting its opinion over your opinion? Good reason to not use Twitter anymore, which I don't, by the way. I'm sure somebody out there, there's somebody working for Twitter saying, well, by golly, we're going to shut down his Twitter channel. Go ahead. Ask me if I care. Okay, let's talk about this case of Ahmaud Arbery. He was shot twice in the chest and once in his hand, according to the autopsy. They're weighing hate crime charges against the white father and son. Now, remember, the story is they accused him of burglary. They saw him walking out of this home. Now, he was empty-handed as far as anybody can tell, and they tried to execute a citizen's arrest. And apparently, Ahmad decided he wasn't going to go along with that and fought against them and wound up getting shot. So I don't like the wording in this story because they said he was chased down and shot. It didn't look to me on the video like he was chased down. It looked to me like he approached the guy with the gun and fought against him. This is going to be a real tricky one, but they're going to do Zimmerman all over again. They're going to convict these two guys in the court of public opinion as quickly as they can and use that political pressure to get the desired outcome. It's no more valid legal proceeding than a witch trial. Now, over the weekend, defenders of Gregory and Travis McMichael seized on surveillance cam footage showing Ahmaud Arbery walking through a construction site prior to the altercation that led to his death, claiming the evidence proves the father and son were justified in setting up an armed roadblock to enact a citizen's arrest. Now, apparently, video has surfaced showing this Armand repeatedly entering that construction site and leaving more than once. So we don't know if maybe he found something to take and then went back looking for something more. Then a neighbor spotted him, called 911, and he split. And that's when he ran into Gregory and Travis McMichael. So it is a very, very complicated issue. It's a complicated story. We can't leap to any conclusions one way or the other. We need to just basically keep on getting as many facts as we absolutely can and not go with assumptions about what's happening. But at this point, it's a shame he's dead. Shouldn't have happened. But the video is very damning, showing that he's going into this construction site repeatedly. It's not his construction site. It's not his home. That right there is suspicious. For real uniformed police, that would be considered probable cause to stop. Now, one of the prosecutors who recused himself from the case over a conflict of interest said that the killing of Ahmaud Arbery was justifiable homicide. Now, with Ahmaud contending with one of the McMichaels who had the gun, again, it's another gray area. But we know that the purveyors of racial disharmony are going to be pushing this one as hard as they can. Meanwhile, of course, still not a single word in the corporate media about that octogenarian couple who was shot dead in that cemetery up in Delaware. They were visiting their son's grave at a veteran cemetery, and they were shot dead by a black guy with a sniper's rifle. Apparently, racial revenge killing for Ahmaud Arbery. Not a word about it on the corporate media. Not a single word, because it doesn't fit the narrative of, white supremacists hunting down poor black people. And the big question mark hanging over this, of course, is the guy who filmed Arbery's killing. How did he know to get out his cell phone? How did he know to turn on the video camera? That's a big question mark. Now, the lawyer who's representing this man is saying that, he wasn't able to call 911 because he couldn't take the video and call at the same time. And he went on to basically saying, he's a mechanic with a Georgia high school education, which isn't saying much. So, yeah, Mr. Lawyer, let's insult your client as a means of defense here. Over at ABC, apparently they censored video footage of Arbery trespassing into a home repeatedly at night. They showed one time when he went in and went out, made it look like, well, it's no big deal. He was just curious. So just thought he'd take a look around. Didn't take anything on that one. Arbery's family is insisting it isn't him, even though got the similar dual arm tattoos, haircut, height, build, and khaki shorts. And I looked at that, and it does look like him. I think one of our callers yesterday had it right. What is this kid's background? What is his police record? That has a bearing here. Okay. All right, let's talk about some science right now. Apparently, over the last week, there have been many earthquakes along the Pacific Ocean coast in California, as well as other countries in U.S. states. 3.1 magnitude, Palm Springs, that's no big deal. 4.5, that's getting up there. That was in San Diego County. And according to Caltech, there have been more than 1,200 quakes in California and Nevada during the last week, most of which were too weak to even feel. But there's a lot of seismic activity along the Cascades Fault off the coast of Washington State. And a lot of seismologists are thinking that one is ready to go with a big quake that would make the Southern California big one, look rather calm by mistake. And it could generate a tsunami that could level the city of Seattle. And they're saying it's long, long overdue. Now, this gets us to the Yellowstone supervolcano, because the more they researched the magma chamber, the more they discover it's not only going down deeper and deeper, it bends over toward the west. And if you look at the scars of earlier eruptions that basically extend to the southwest from the current Yellowstone Lake, it's obvious that there is a plate movement over a hotspot, that the Yellowstone supervolcano is a hotspot volcano. But if the hotspot is now over by the coast and there's a major, major quake there, it could really set off some exciting is not exactly the best word to use. Dramatic would be a better word. Geological events along that part of the country. So anyway, can you believe this last weekend, Planned Parenthood sent out a Mother's Day greeting? And I'm sure somebody somewhere in management thought, this would be a nice thing to do. Happy Mother's Day, from the people who chop up the little babies and sell the parts. And needless to say, there was a backlash. People were not at all happy or pleased with what Planned Parenthood had done. All right, NASA scientists, some of the NASA scientists, are on their way to a dried lake bed in western Nevada. They're going to conduct one last round of real-world testing of the sensors and navigation technology in preparation for the launch of the Perseverance rover, which will be launched this summer and arrive on Mars on 2021. So great, another rover up there, and that'll be cool. Mars is my favorite planet for reasons I've previously made clear here. This is a little weird, also out of order, unfortunately. There's a trio of female high school track and field athletes who want a ban on biological males competing against them. And the judge in the case has said attorneys for the female athletes may not refer to the biological male runners as male. So I guess we're going to call them shrunk or boofters, or I don't know. Call them trannies, I guess. But they're not allowed to refer to them as males, even though that's what's in the DNA. I'm sorry. All the makeup and, all the hormone therapy and all the rest of it, when you get right down to that DNA, boys are boys and girls are girls. That's just the way it is. All right, getting back to the science stuff, this was a little out of sequence here. It's what I get when I rush. Salty puddles on Mars may be more common than previously thought and can last for up to 6 hours at a time, but at 55 degrees Fahrenheit below zero are too cold to support life, says the headline. Now, first of all, it is no surprise that there's liquid water, salty water, on the surface of Mars, because liquid water was photographed on the surface of Mars by the rover Opportunity all the way back in 2004. And we see NASA doing this a lot, where they'll discover something and hope you don't remember it's already been discovered before, so they can stand up and get some news coverage. So, and as far as 55 degrees below zero, well, if the water is liquid and with enough salt, it will be liquid, it can still support life. Life that has evolved to be very comfortable at 55 degrees below zero Fahrenheit. Look at the fish that live in the Arctic Ocean here on planet Earth. life evolves to be comfortable in the environment in which it's evolving. And I get really tired of all these astronomers who are out there saying, we want to find, life as we know it. Well, you may eventually, but if the question is extraterrestrial life, you've got to broaden your horizons, so to speak, and realize that life is going to evolve any place you have a fluid medium, raw materials, elements, and a source of energy to stir it all around. Sooner or later, you get that self-replicating molecule that is the beginning of life. Now, again, going back to Mars, Viking found what seems to have been indigenous life. And for political reasons, it was kind of knocked down. But I think there's life on Mars. I'm going to say, I know there's life on Mars. Problem is that since Viking, every probe, every rover sent up there has not been sterilized before launch. So when they find something crawling around on the surface of Mars, they're going to have a hard time saying, is this really indigenous to Mars, or is it something that hitched a ride from Earth? But again, they're out there saying, salty puddles, yeah, they knew that back in 2004. Oh, and here's a good example of the bias, the species chauvinism, if you will. This is from Your Destination Now. Astronomers detect an incredibly rare Earth-like planet orbiting a star 1/10 the size of our sun, 25,000 light years away. Huzzah, huzzah, we found one just like Earth, hopefully with a better political system. And if I were head of NASA, and I take back that joke about dressing up like apes, I'd be thinking about going back to Titan. I know they want to go to Europa because they think there might be something terrestrial-like living in the water underneath all that ice. But I'd go to Titan, and I'd look in those methane pools and see if there's something biological happening there. That would be truly extraterrestrial. Nothing like it on Earth. And we would know we're not alone in the universe. How could we be alone in all this room if you really think about it? So a lot of people are making plans to go back to the moon. Apparently over in Denmark, a design duo developed an expanding lunar module for freezing conditions. It's a 2-person cabin. It has a tough aluminum exterior and a homely interior complete with comfy furniture. And it folds up like an origami shape. So it's going to be easy to transport. People are really working on that stuff. Now, do you remember not too long ago, China launched a satellite, an experimental spacecraft, and part of the Long March 5B rocket that was launched on May 5th fell back to Earth into the Atlantic Ocean just off the coast of West Africa. And it was 93 feet long and weighed 17.8 tons. It's the most massive object to make an uncontrolled reentry in decades. I remember when Mir came down, how spectacular that was. So 18 tons came crashing on down. Okay, this is a good one for all you Friday night people here. New method for analyzing remains of cereal grains on ancient artifacts confirm Neolithic humans were brewing beer 6,000 years ago. So empires may come and empires may go, but the beer goes on forever. So it looks like the earliest pioneer of civilization is never the railroad, never the newspaper, never the missionary, but alcohol. We've been talking about the polar vortex and what the heck happened to all that human-caused global warming. Apparently, Scotland suffered one of the coldest May days for 23 years, thanks to the 1,000-mile-wide polar vortex, with minus 5 degrees centigrade freeze on the way tonight. Where is that human-caused global warming? Well, it was a hoax. It was one of the many hoaxes that you're subjected to. Okay, Broadway has canceled all their shows through the end of summer. Apparently, it's costing them too much to open up those theaters and have those seats stay empty. So the Great White Way is going to stay dark this summer. Broadway theaters have begun offering refunds and exchanges for all shows through Labor Day. As the coronavirus continues to lurk, families are locked out of nursing homes. Yeah, that's certainly true around here. Certainly true here. Is it safe inside? Well, it is. That's what they're trying to keep, because so many people have died inside the nursing homes. They're trying to keep them as isolated as possible. And that's actually a very good thing. All righty. Getting back onto Twitter. Apparently, they're telling their employees they can work from home forever if they wish. Apparently, it worked out very well. We're going to take another break for commercials. Back with the last segment of hour number 1 after these few words.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
Talk Right, the conservative app offered by TalkStream Live that caters exclusively to the conservative talk radio community. Here you'll see only talk shows and podcasts from the conservative right, all the big broadcast names and online digital shows in one place. Talk Right makes it easy to find all your favorite conservative talkers with all the upscale features you come to expect from TalkStream Live. Keep up with the fast-paced political world. Download Talk Right today from Google Play or the App Store.
The Republic Broadcasting Network late night premiere show of Red Pill Hardcore is hosted by activists that want to hear from you, the listeners. So that you can get involved in the activism, please call in at 800-313-9443 at 10 p.m. to enter the discussion. To book yourself as a guest, call our studio at 202-657-5715 or contact RBN staff. Remember, keep it real and take the Red Pill.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And welcome back to our show here. We're going to go ahead and open up the phone lines now just a little bit early and get the callers going there. 800-313-9443. That's 800-313-9443. Meanwhile, over in Great Britain, the British government has given the film and TV industry the green light to restart, along with social distancing rules. So just imagine Romeo and Juliet 6 feet apart, or Doctor Who 6 feet away from everybody. So it's going to get a little bit interesting before that gets done here. Okay, so Dr. Fauci is still out there warning of needless suffering and death. That's his new catchphrase, needless suffering and death. And he's certainly disagreeing with Donald Trump about reopening the country here. Odd little story that came on out from David Icke's website. Pneumonia goes down as COVID-19 goes up. Just a coincidence, nothing to worry about. Actually, a lot of people have commented that as the numbers for COVID-19 go up and there are suspicions they're being inflated, numbers for other illnesses are going down, and that this may be proof that a lot of deaths that are not COVID-19 are being recategorized. You know, like truck hits a deer on the highway, COVID-19 victim, obviously. Already talked about the declassification. Okay, federal law enforcement officials arrested a professor at the University of Arkansas for allegedly concealing his involvement in a program that the Communist Chinese Party uses to steal intellectual property from U.S. institutions. Now, it's probably going on both sides here. Gloria Faye Brinson, 88, and W.D. Brinson, 93. Have a love anyone would be proud of. Married for 72 years, the last year has looked a little different for them after Faye started living at W. Frank Wells Nursing Home in McLenny, Florida. Well, that's a tearjerker, and yeah, nursing homes are very, very difficult indeed here. Okay, still no callers on the line, so go forward and see what else we can find to talk about here. Apparently, let's see, it's becoming increasingly clear that the economic fallout from the coronavirus lockdowns may be worse than the virus itself. Nearly half of coronavirus layoffs will become permanent. Following the Tara Reid interview, Megyn Kelly tells Glenn Beck that Joe Biden allegation is a haunting case and the Democratic victim shamers are disgusting. They certainly are on that one. And again, Joe Biden, he's deteriorating every single day, every time, despite the softball interviews and all the coaching and the handling that's going on. You know, he's coming apart at the seams. Somebody wrote in to say that Joe Biden is more confused than a chameleon in a bowl of Skittles. And it's true. It's absolutely true. So I'm expecting there to be some serious fireworks over there at the Democratic convention. All righty. Let's see. Pelosi-affiliated PAC goes all the way in on 2020. Will spend $18 million on anti-Trump ads. Trump ended a press conference after CNN reporter Caitlin Collins repeatedly interrupted him. Caitlin, that is the president. Okay. So callers are starting to come in, but we're coming up here on our station identification break. Back there's the music right now. We'll be back after station identification with phone calls.
Did you know that you can be tracked and traced when you're online? With identity theft and cybercrimes on the rise, your passwords, your identity, and even your physical location can be revealed to complete strangers. Would you like to surf the internet anonymously and not have to worry about these threats? Well, now you can by visiting patriotinternet.com. For about $2 per month, patriotinternet.com will conceal your IP address and your physical location, allowing you to browse the web, send emails, and instant message anonymously. patriotinternet.com will bypass filters, block sites, and keyword blocking. You can also bypass logging by your router and your ISP. With patriotinternet.com, there is no software to install and uses 128-bit encryption for your protection. When using wireless hotspots, patriotinternet.com shields your information from identity thieves and is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Protect your identity and your freedom with anonymous internet access from patriotinternet.com. Visit patriotinternet.com today.
This is RBN,
The Republic Broadcasting Network.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Welcome back to our show, hour number 2. And before we start taking phone calls here, I've got an email that I think I want to read to you. I've seen the full video of the shooting of Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia. In the full video, it shows him running down the street in the direction of the white truck and the two men, one in the back of the truck and one on the street on the driver's side. Ahmaud is not blocked by the truck. He runs around the passenger side of the truck, cuts across the front of the truck, and attacks the guy in the street. The guy in the street defends himself and doesn't initially fire. In the ABC, CBS, NBC video, they, just like Chuck Todd's editing of A.G. Barr, cut out the jogger running around the side of the truck and attacking the guy in the street. And the next thing you see is him getting shot. The edit is so obvious, it's disgusting. In the meantime, YouTube has taken down the complete video as offensive. Well, no wonder I couldn't find it here. All right, we're going to go to the phone, starting with Kelly in Austin. Hello, Kelly. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi there, Mike. You mentioned tectonic activity and earthquakes up along the Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
That subduction zone is very active. It starts up just north of the San Andreas transform system, and then it swings all around the Pacific. It runs through the Aleutian Islands and on down along the
Ring of Fire.
The west, the west coast of the Pacific, forming the Ring of Fire. And that area up there in the Pacific Northwest is probably one of the more active areas. That's the Juan de Fuca plate is being subducted beneath the North American plate.
Yeah.
You can see it's active because you had that Cascade Range right there. And there's been some concern over time among the volcanologists and seismologists who have studied that area that it's ripe for an earthquake. And they have surmised that that could be one of the more devastating earthquakes to occur when it does occur. So the damage to the Northwest, to the Seattle area and in that area, could be immense, and it could be enormous loss of life. And of course, if that's accompanied by a volcanic eruption, then all bets are off, because people might not be able to live up there again. The Yellowstone supervolcano is a supervolcano, and they've mapped out the movement of the hot spot over time. You can see where it's erupted about every 600,000 years. We're close to that. And that's another very dangerous one. But trying to estimate when that might erupt again is very difficult. No one has been able to develop a method of predicting with any certainty when an earthquake or a volcanic eruption will occur. Nonetheless, if you're looking for an area where an earthquake or volcanic eruption is likely to occur in the United States, the Pacific Northwest is where you would want to look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not sure I'd invest a lot of money in real estate. Of course, it would probably erupt long after I'm dead. But it's just in a very precarious place with respect to all that tectonic activity, and it's called a Ring of Fire for good reason.
Yes.
So that the Pacific Basin is a very active basin. You don't find subduction zones along the east coast of the United States, but you do find the subduction zones along the Pacific, and of course you have that massive transform fault, and all along the west coast of South America, you have a subduction zone. That's why you have major earthquakes in Chile.
Yeah.
Subduction zones are very, very bad places for earthquakes. Anyway, so don't buy property in Seattle if you're looking to retire anywhere.
Or buy it way inland and then sell it after it becomes beachfront property.
Yeah. if you can survive the eruptions. Okay, Mike. I enjoyed your cow. By the way, I listened to Fauci today, and Fauci is just. I don't believe a word that comes out of that man's mouth.
Yeah,
I've heard. I've read today that some of the news organizations are saying, "Oh, well, he really put Rand Paul in his place." No, he didn't. They had a conversation, and Rand Paul actually nailed him on some issues, and Fauci just weaseled out of it. He didn't I think acquit himself very well. Of course, Democrats are out there trying to do everything here, throw every softball question that they could at him. But Fauci is someone I think whose credentials are really questionable at this point. He hasn't seen a patient in 20 plus years, and I'm not sure he'd know what to do with one if he laid his hands on one. Okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of
That's it for
negative
me.
stuff about Fauci. All right. Well, Kelly, thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to let you go. I am being told by our control room that John Stadmiller's guest in the hour that follows this one will be Ground Zero Radio host Clyde Lewis. So you may want to stay tuned for that. We're going to go back to the phones to Dustin in New Jersey. Hello, Dustin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike, remember the original Superman with Christopher Reeve when they're going to set that bomb off and then he was going to buy beachfront property in Nevada, remember?
Yes.
Hey, remember Otisburg?
Yes.
Hey, Mike, yeah, I watched the Fauci thing. You know, there's one thing, though, Fauci, he has a lot of books. My God, I mean, there must be a bookworm because there was just books all over the place, you know, paperwork and books. So, I mean, I don't know the guy, you know. Is he connected and he's making money? Sure he is. They all do, you know. But, I mean, the guy's not stupid, though. You know, he goes way back to the HIV before that, right? I mean, the guy has been around for a long, you know. So, I mean, you know, I don't know the guy, you know, probably corrupt because they all are. But Mike, I was looking at this article. Did you hear about the FEMA report that came out of the White House about the cases spiking in Tennessee and Kansas counties?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's like some counties, like there's like a meat packing plant in Kansas and a prison in Tennessee, but they had like 1,000% increase in cases in like the Midwest. And I was like looking. Now, most of the young people live in the cities, right? I mean, there is older population, but I mean, the rural areas have a lot of older people. So, I mean, it's very, I mean, when that starts spreading, you know, it's going to probably be pretty bad in the rural area. I mean, at least they're spread out, you know, not like jam-packed in like a sardine in the cities. But, I mean, it's something to keep an eye out for.
Yes.
But, Mike, there's also a picture of Mike Pence wearing a mask at the White House. Somebody took a picture of him wearing a mask. So, I mean, he is taking precautions. And then you talked about this woman yesterday, Shelley Luther. Did you hear about her? She had received her check before she went into the jail. The PPP check for 18 grand.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, you know, Mike, I mean, I know a lot of these people do the GoFundMes and stuff, but who was the guy who worked for our government? Was that Peter Strzok? Didn't they do a GoFundMe for him?
They've done one for Michael
like
Flynn.
Oh, do they? It's just, do you think she, like, is trustworthy? Like, she didn't do this just because, like, I mean, I'm just curious when I'm just curious the date when she got the check before this whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like a money, just to pull in money or something, you know? Like, you never know with people, you know?
Well,
everybody's out.
I think if she'd wanted just the money, she would have taken the check and just stayed at home. But as she stated, you know, in the courtroom, she said she's got employees that need to feed their children. And she wanted to open up so that they could, you know, do their job and feed their children. And as a matter of fact, apparently business is booming. You know, her little salon a la mode is now famous, and people want to go there just so they can say they've been there.
Yeah, did you see? Remember, I talked about that Colorado restaurant? They were actually, the health department ordered them to be closed.
Yes.
Now they're not. They're disobeying that order. I mean, I can see if they're going to stay open, at least have separated tables and stuff, not bunching people together. But, like, I don't know. You know, I saw an interview with the guy, and he even says, because I said this, like, our government's all over the map with this. You know, it's the whole CDC also. Remember, don't wear a mask, then wear a mask. And the reason why they didn't want you to wear a mask because they didn't have enough masks to go around for the healthcare worker. But, I mean, it's just, it's a bureaucracy. So there's just nobody's sticking to the same playbook. It's a really, we're in bad shape. It's just a sad thing to see. Everybody's just trying to position for themselves. It's just like, even like, plus Trump is too. He's a politician now. But he's also it's just nobody's on the same page, and I think that's going to doom us. It's just things change every day, and this or that. I don't know. What do you think about that? I just that's the way I see it. It's like nobody's on the same page.
I think that's one of the reasons why people aren't believing, what they're being told about coronavirus, because they're being told such conflicting things. I got an email from somebody earlier today saying the biggest problem, with trusting anything that's coming out about it is that everybody's saying something different.
But we do know one thing. Did you see what happened in South Korea with the gay bar or something? They had to shut that down because somebody spread the disease at a gay bar in South Korea, which is that's a taboo thing, I guess, in South Korea and Asia, like they have like what they call it, a cluster over there. So yeah, man, I still think we're in for the long haul, and Mike, all these people who, if it changes and it mutates, if you're immune to it, say, can you get the mutation?
It depends on how bad the mutation is. If it's a slight mutation, probably not. But if it mutates enough to where the antibodies don't recognize it, then yes, you can get it again.
And that's another thing. They don't know anything about the antibodies. They don't. They say they don't know if you can re-get it. So it's just a lot of unknowns, But that's all I got to say, Mike. I hope James from Tokyo calls in, and the gentleman from the Netherlands. I haven't heard from him or anybody from the UK for a while either. Like, where's all the callers? Come on, guys. What? Call in. All right, Mike. Have a good show.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. And apparently the full video of the Arbery shooting has just been posted on the RBN website, republicbroadcasting.org. And just look in the news section. You'll find it right there. Let's go back to the phones to Tom in Florida. Hello, Tom. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Michael. Good day to you. Aloha. Yeah, I don't know. I hope I was watching Sludge today. I was wondering if Dustin knows what's going on with the parks in New Jersey. Are you having urine bottles? They don't open the bathrooms, but the parks are open, and they got feces everywhere. New Jersey, the governor, they're open the parks, but he won't open the bathrooms there. So the people are using urine bottles, and they're urinating everywhere in the parks, and there's feces everywhere over these parks in Jersey. Also, San Francisco, there's 18,000 more homeless living in tents. While you have that Pigs Pelosi lives in a $18 million mansion. She has a $25,000 refrigerator. She eats $2,000. She has $2,000 worth of ice cream in her special refrigerator. It costs $25,000. The Pig Pelosi going around screaming with her Tourette's like a nutcase. You got bumbling Biden. He probably did rape that Tara Reid. I want her to take that lie detector. I want to do like a Maury Povich show where Joe's got to go on the show and show that he didn't rape her through a lie detector. Lie detector is the way you can show the American public that Biden is a bumbling buffoon. And by the way, Michael.
Tom, the problem is lie detectors. The polygraph type lie detectors can be defeated quite easily. I'd rather see them under a voice stress analyzer.
Okay, perfect. I agree. But here, Michael, here's what's going on. I didn't know this, and I don't know none of your listening audience knew this. On Tucker Carlson the other night, Jesse Waters' show, they have tapes of Biden saying that he had 3 degrees, and he had to lie, and he apologized, and to get the 1 degree, he had to beg the university to get his 1 degree. Also on tape of Biden, they have bumbling Biden, okay, talking about he was doing plagiarism. You heard about that? He's plagiarizing.
Plagiarism.
Yeah, yes, that's the word. Yes, he was doing. They caught him on tape. He even admits to it. He apologizes for that. This guy is nothing but an habitual liar. He's got dementia. He's got a brain of a 108-year-old man. And people are going to vote for this moron over Trump. And you're going to allow millions of more illegal immigration. Like I told you, no, Michael, this is insane. But what I really want to say is this too. And I hope Miles and Joe and Mark call in because they're all great callers. But especially Miles, he really hits it home. But I got to tell you, Michael, what's going on with the Flynn investigation. Now, Michael, I want you to talk for 5 minutes. Well, you have the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, telling the millions and millions of people the other day that Barry Soetoro, Hussein Obama, committed treason. There was treasonous acts by a former president against an incoming president. If that doesn't light up the country for what the media is not doing, it's disgraceful. Because a president of the United States who's sitting in office right now, accusing another president of treasonous acts along with Comey, that Strzok, that Page, all these criminals, that's already been proven. And we're still waiting for the shoe to drop. And the chickens are going to come home to roost when the Durham report comes out. Okay, so when that Durham report comes out, and we're going to see where Soetoro Obama really stood in all this. Now you have the Mexican president accusing Obama of the gun running. Have you heard about that, Michael?
Yes, I have.
That's on Sludge report, on Sludge. And now the Mexican president's even saying Obama was flooding it with Eric Holder with the Fast and Furious and the guns. That in itself right there is treason. Soetoro Obama took the rules of radicals and took it to the extreme. Okay? Barry Soetoro Hussein, and I don't even call his real name is who is the father? Marshall Davis. I believe Marshall Davis is the father of Obama.
Yes.
He was a full-blown communist that lived in Hawaii, but actually was from Chicago. A full-blown communist was this guy, Frank Marshall Davis, who had such hatred for the United States. It's ridiculous. Okay? Couldn't even touch some of these other radicals. Now, Obama, he has Dreams of My Father. You can look in that book and see how radical Obama is.
Yes.
Soetoro. He was a full-blown radical. Now, this guy made president of the United States because they marketed him like a Twinkie. He was marketed like a Twinkie package. You know the Twinkie's going to kill you if you eat too many of them, but you know what? People will buy them because they taste good, and you'll end up dying from the Twinkie. You understand? Just like this Fauci fool. Fauci is a fool. He's a liar. He's trying to look, Michael, Cunningham the other night had a great show because he's absolutely right. The swine flu killed a lot more people than this flu in 1969, the swine flu, the Hong Kong flu, whatever it was, and they didn't shut the government down. Millions of people didn't lose their jobs. This is nonsense. This is all about China dictating to the world about money. It's all about the money with the Chinese. How can a country in 1974, whose 98% of their people were riding around on bicycles, now have super highways and everything? Because they ripped off America, the United States. They took our factories. They took our asphalt. They took everything out of here. They have better medical support. What's going on here in 1974, Michael? How does the country get so rich?
Dustin, China didn't take it away. It was given to them by short-sighted CEOs and government policy as part of this whole globalism thing.
Criminals, exactly.
Yes.
I'm John. Who you say? Dustin? Who? Whatever. Okay, Michael. Anyway, listen, all I can say is what's going on right now with the Democratic Party, how they're getting away with the narrative to get a guy like Biden elected is disgraceful. You got this guy, what's the guy, the news anchor, Todd?
Yes.
Chuck Todd is, you got this guy lying like crazy. Chuck Todd is a big liar, but they put him on TV. But, you know, I'm wondering, Michael, they kicked off Kennedy and they kicked off Trish Regan off of Fox News because they were kind of defending Trump, and they're booted off the air. And I didn't mind looking at those two, especially Trish Regan. She's really good to look at. But now they got this guy, Chuck F. Todd, this crook, and you got that morning schlo, the morning Jews, whatever you want to call them. And it's just ironic. Oh, by the way, Mike, one more thing, and I know you got other callers. Did you see that Bloomberg's pumping in $80 million in the state of Texas and turn it blue?
Yep.
Michael Bloomberg's pumping in $80 million to turn that state into New Jersey or New York. And he's going to get all these illegals in that state to do it. Just like Jersey and New York. They've brought all these millions of illegals over there. Now I guess they're getting them citizenship because they know they'll be future Democratic voters. Let's tell the truth. The Supreme Court, they want to turn that with bumbling Biden so they could get more people like that Ginsburg or whatever you wanted, that schmuck, that schmuckarina, that yenta. That's exactly what, like I told your show last week, Michael. How is 3% of the population get all these officials elected in the office? Because you must have a bunch of dingbats in the Christian faith and not paying attention.
Dustin, I got to let you go. Dustin, I got to let you go. We got to take a break for commercials. We'll be back with more phone calls after these two words.
would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly!
The new Ease Off Model Easy 4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The Ease Off lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
Sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the Ease Off? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my Ease Off?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry because we are offering $200 off on the new Easy 4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows too. Ease Off LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
As a listener of RBN, you're surely concerned about being informed and being ready for whatever may come. Please consider the following questionnaire as a soul-jarring wake-up call. If you answer no to more than 2 of these following questions, you probably aren't going to make it through any major disruption in our country. The questions were compiled by people that have been there. Are you really ready? Do you own your own firearm for the primary defense and protection of you and your loved ones? Have you ever been professionally trained to stand against life-threatening behavior? Have you ever practiced enough to fire 500 rounds during a 2 to 4 day time frame, day and night? Can you load, unload, fire, and clear a jam in total darkness? Have all the adults in your household been professionally trained? Are you, life and death, comfortable with your abilities with pistol, revolver, shotgun, and rifle? Are you aware that everything that you do to prepare for an emergency is a waste of time, money, and energy? If you haven't honed your abilities to their highest level to protect and keep what you have, do you have the repair parts that will most likely be needed for each of your firearm, and do you have the ability to install those parts? Could you completely clean every firearm you own? Are you aware that your body won't go where your mind hasn't been? In other words, without proper training, followed by regular practice, you probably will not win a gunfight. Well, how did you measure up? Take the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to start correcting your deficiencies by receiving your Commander Lifetime Membership with Front Sight Firearms Training Facility. A one-time donation to RBN for $500 will give you a Commander Lifetime Membership at Front Sight as a tremendously huge thank you bonus. See details on RBN's webpage to make it happen. The clock is ticking. You had better be ready before it happens.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Join Mike on the air. Call toll-free 800-313-9443. 800-313-9443.
Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go back to the phones to Arjun in New Jersey. Hello, Arjun. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Hello, Mike. So I wanted to talk about Dr. Ron Paul. In my lifetime, I only saw like one politician who was true towards the Constitution. That was just Dr. Ron Paul. Like he only voted for things that were actually right and that were constitutionally allowed. Now the thing is that like I wanted to know from you, do you know anyone else other than Dr. Ron Paul who was like a leader, like who was like a congressman or senator like Ron Paul in your lifetime previously that was there like previously in Congress, you know, other than Ron Paul?
No. Ron Paul is unique, and you know when he was running, I did support him.
Yes. And I was thinking like when the country would have started like in 1776, would all the leaders that we had at that point of time, would they have been similar to Dr. Ron Paul?
Yeah, they were because, when this country was started, our political leaders, they weren't career politicians. They were people who had businesses. They had they had farms. They had distilleries. They had print shops. You know, Ben Franklin was a publisher and inventor. Paul Revere was a silversmith. John Hancock sold insurance. I mean, these were men who had lives and businesses, and being in the government was a part-time honorary situation. but over time we've developed this permanent political ruling class, which acts like history's other ruling classes as well.
There was one thing I was wondering, like you mentioned that like Republic Broadcast Network is doing the fundraiser, and you guys are needed. You guys need funds. I was wondering that if you guys put your financials like on your website, that how much you are earning and how much are your expenses, would that help like people to concretely see how much is your expense and how much you are bringing in, and that might actually let people decide that okay, we should donate. Like I love your channel, you know, like I'm just saying that like that might help people donate more towards your network.
Well, there's merit in your idea, because I think a lot of people don't appreciate how much it costs to run a website server or to run the studio in Round Rock, Texas. But that would be up to John Stadmiller to do. And, you know, but I'll definitely forward the idea onto him and see if we can come up with something.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. That's all I have for you today.
Okay, thank you. And we're going to switch over to Robert in Illinois. Hello, Robert. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. Jeez, I've been waiting so long. The whole Flynn thing, you know, now that we got the revelations about Obama and a lot of stuff starting to come out of the woodwork, I probably mentioned this on your broadcast before, that Obama is in for impeachment. Now, it's not going to be until, and this is why you do have to vote for President Trump, because he's the best we got, regardless of anybody's, you know, wishy-washy feelings, because I got those same wishy-washy feelings. I'll tell you, brother. But Obama's going to get impeached. It'll be in Trump's second term, but he is going to get impeached. He is going to go down. A lot of these people are going to go down out of this corporation, of this stuff, that all the things they put us through, this government through, and whatever, the whole hijacking the system. And you know, with all the, from the Bushes and the Clintons and then Obama, the extension, and Hillary and whatever, they've done a lot of dirty work, a lot of dirty deeds. They put us, all of our lives, in jeopardy. I mean, we have all been in danger because of what they've been doing. Not just, you know, danger of a life threat, you know, threatening, but our medical, you know, medical health, our financial health, our children's health, our children's well-being, our children's just safety. They put us all in dire, dire straits. And we're talking Eric Holder, Strzok, Page. You just start going on a laundry list. The FBI agents involved. You know, I don't know, start naming some names, you know, the ones that have already been fired. And that leads me to being fired. Like, you know, hey, why don't he just fire these people? Well, they want to keep them employed, Mike, because then they have easy access to them. Because once they fire them and they're no longer a government employee, then they got to start going through their lawyers and the paperwork and warrants and other stuff. But as long as they're still employees, they have full access to them. You follow?
Yes.
That's the rhyme and reason. Why don't they follow them? Why don't he just, you know, look, that's the reason. I mean, I agree. Why doesn't he do this? Oh, get rid of him. That's the reason. And the reason they haven't been all indicted and so on and whatnot, regardless, because we've been talking about this, you know, this is May 2020. We've been talking about this 3 years and change already, you know, of all the stuff that's been going on. We, the independent media, from any websites you want to go to, whether it be Republic Broadcasting or whoever, you know, any exceptions of mainstream media, we've been digging this stuff up left and right. We've had this mystery solved, you know, this crime mystery. We've had this, the characters and the processes and the operations and names and all this stuff. We've had this all out there. As we're like, well, President Trump, why don't you just listen to us? You'll learn, you know. We've had it, but they've had to build cases. They've had to build airtight cases. They've had to build up this judicial system that has been totally corrupt, because it didn't matter what kind of
Robert,
they had.
Robert, I got to put you on hold. Don't hang up. I'm going to come right back to you after these words from our sponsors.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine. Great for heart palpitations. By Ann. Before I started using this product, every afternoon, my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc. I love this product. It really works. By Brad. Works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
This is too good to be true, except this time it is real. 100%. No joke. How about a $25,000 membership to Front Sight Firearms Training Facility as a thank you bonus for a one-time donation to RBN of only $500? It is a Commander lifetime membership with no yearly fees or dues. The training is free for the rest of your life with over 50 different classes. Then leave it to your designated beneficiary. You provide the approved firearm, holster, ammo, eye, and ear protection. Many features and bonuses are included, more than you would ever expect or believe. This is the ultimate graduation present, wedding gift, etc., etc. See the details. Go to RBN's webpage and frontsight.com to make it happen. You will hear this offer only on this radio network. Help keep RBN alive. Tell 5.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
Welcome back to our show here. We're talking with Robert in Illinois about Salone, Fauci, Flynn, and various other subjects. So, Robert, why don't you just pick up where you left off?
Yeah, I apologize. I started to get a little long-winded there, man. But, some of your audience is going, bull, I don't believe it. Believe me, I've been wishy-washy on this, but I've had so many discussions and so much, so many well-researched, investigative stuff happening over these past years, and again, I've gotten to my down points where I don't believe it. He did this. I can't believe any of it, but back and forth. But we got to have faith. We got to ride this horse to the finish line. And that's what's going on as far as all this goes. He may not be perfect as what we got. And all the rest of them are deep state players, regardless. They're all just trying to vie for their attention and so on and so forth. But impeach 44, postpartum, however you want to say it, even though President Obama isn't president anymore. Yeah, he could still be impeached. That means, folks, wiping out 8 years of all that garbage. That's what that impeachment means. That means a lot of undoing. That's what that means. Think about that. That is in everybody's best interest here. Let me move on. Shelley Luther, Justin starts putting question about Shelley Luther. I listened to her on the Power Hour a couple Fridays ago, and she is an independent salon owner. What she does is she's one of those owners where she rents out her some space, like she contracts space out to like different whatever. That's how she runs the business, and then they pay her rent. She's had the business for about 2 years. This year, she was about to get into black. It was a good year. She started to make money. Well, then they did this whole thing, and then nobody can work. So she let her, when she opened, she's like, okay, you guys go back to work. I'm not charging you for that space. She's true, okay? She's not some shill doing some attention thing, and she just got caught up because they came after her, and that's how she got the headline. And she fought back. She stood for her, principles, and that is good stuff. Now, when people came to the rescue, that's a good thing. Unlike what happened with the Kavanaugh case and the the Blasey Ford, when there are 11 different GoFundMe accounts over $10 million, over $1 million. That's different. That is shill, not our Shelley Luther. You got to stand behind these people, and anybody that opens up their business, make sure you go to their business and you say, hey, thank you, and you buy something or just put something in their tip jar because they're doing a good thing. They are standing up for something that you and me have allowed them just to go ahead and stomp over and try and take away from us.
Well, I'll tell you, until you've actually started and run a business yourself, most people won't appreciate how much work it takes, how much risk it involves, and how hard it really can be to get a business going.
You betcha, my man. You know, I did have something else. Oh, Fauci. Fauci is a crook. Fauci is smart, but he's not intelligent. Okay, there's a difference. I know you know it, Mike. He is a thief. He is amoral. His whole career has been about failing up. And if you're going to listen to Dr. Fauci and his little Congress thing, then you've got time to listen to a slew of Dr. Judy Mikovits's interviews, conversations, whether it be video or audio, or even buy her book, Plague, and now she's got Plague of Corruption. She will tell you, she has firsthand experience of who actually identified what is we know today as HIV/AIDS, and how Fauci plays into that, and how he stole the research and discredited people, and how he used that as a weapon to kill millions of people. Okay?
Yes.
Which leads me to those prison guys. You know, they just had to do prison rape. They would have got coronavirus just that easier. That's the best way to get it. Prison rape themselves with all the blood transfer. They would have been done. I don't know what this coughing and drinking warm water. These guys that's how dumbed down we are. They already were, they already knew. That's whatever. I'll let you go, Mike. Take care.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Kevin in West Virginia. Hello, Kevin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mr. Mike. I have a bunch of things that are actually on my mind. The first one is Dr. Führer Fauci. What a fraud. What a fraud. Not only is he a fraud, he's a criminal and needs to be tried. He needs to be tried for crimes against humanity, as well as the guy who wrote the original report from what was it? The college from London. It called. It started with an I, and I forget what the name of that.
Oh, yes. I know who you're talking about, the one with the bad computer models. The one who had to quit his job when he turned out he was breaking was over at Imperial College, and he was having an affair with a married woman, and they were violating the lockdown to do it, and he had to quit his job.
Yes, I think he should be tried against crimes against humanity because his original report is what everybody around the world went on. Now, here's something else that not a lot of people are talking about. I'm highly, highly pissed off at my fellow Americans and also disappointed for from being scared into being locked down or put on house arrest, and because that's what that was. And here's why I'm upset. Because when you shut the first world down, you kill the third world. So everybody who's for this lockdown, you have blood on your hands. It's called the third world. How does everybody feel about that? How do you sleep at night knowing that you have blood on your hands and you've killed millions of people from shutting down the first world economy?
That's an interesting aspect.
I mean, nobody thinks about these things. No one does. No one ever thinks about the ramifications of their actions. Yeah, I mean, this whole virus thing, yeah, it was made in a lab. This was a simulant. Y'all don't know what's coming next. Everybody capitulated and did what they said for these lockdowns. They got us right where they want us. Whenever the federal government or these bureaucrats or whatever, they say jump, we Americans, instead of saying no, we say how high. Nobody will stand up anymore. Where is the men in this country that will fight back? Because you know what, Mike, I'm not for violence. I'm not at all for violence, but we are so far gone off the Constitution and off the Bill of Rights. There's no way back unless we take it back by force. I hate to say that, but I think that's the next step that has to happen. And if we don't, this is going to continue because this lockdown is never going to end. I liken it to Ted Bundy putting it on his victim. Put on these pair of handcuffs and we're going to go for a ride. That's exactly what we did. Put on the handcuffs and now we're in the car. We're ourselves to blame for this.
Well, of course, I'm opposed to the idea of a violent revolution. I still think that this country, this government rather, is self-destructing, fueled by an economy which by its very design is doomed to fail eventually. And but we do have to be ready when the crash does come, like the former Soviet Union, that we're ready to restart this country on, as a republic with the Constitution, with the Bill of Rights, a few small modifications, and maybe the first 13 amendments, and we'll just pick it up from there.
Totally agree. Something else I wanted to bring to your attention. I don't know if you're a big Stephen Greer fan or if you follow Stephen Greer, but Alex Jones with InfoWars interviewed Stephen Greer today, and I found it to be a very interesting interview, and I'll leave it at that. It was just interesting. I think it's worth everybody checking out what Dr. Stephen Greer has to say, although a medical doctor, and yes, he gets in, I call it woo-woo, talking about with aliens and everything else, but that's not the point. The point of the fact of what I'm trying to say is we can come together under one accord, under consciousness, because consciousness is what is at the bottom of everything. Even if you study physics or quantum mechanics, we talk about spooky or quantum entanglement. What all of that really is just consciousness. If we can think and uplift everybody, I think we could change a lot of things. I really do. But I just want people to realize, look what they signed on for. Whenever they're like, oh yeah, it sounds reasonable to lock down 2 weeks. 2 months later, here we are, still locked down. This is never going to end. Not going to end.
Well,
it's not going to stop.
I think it is going to end, and that's because people are just fed up with it, and they're starting to simply ignore it, like that lady in Dallas, and certainly people around here. Anyway, thank you for the phone call. We're going to switch over to Brian in Pennsylvania. Hello, Brian. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you just fine. You're on the air.
I'm not sure how much you pay attention to everything, but I think it was yesterday, our governor went on Twitter and started threatening businesses where if they open before he gives the okay to do it, they're going to take liquor licenses, get rid of your business insurance and everything. And it's crazy. I don't our own governor is threatening businesses. If you do something before I give you permission to do it, then we're coming after you. And it's crazy. I don't get this kind of world that we're living in. How did we get to this point?
Well,
the
governors, I think, are listening to their own egos. State of emergency, I must act, even if it's an act of utter stupidity.
Yeah, I remember, what was it, in March, they were talking, we need to shut down for 15 days. 15 days to slow the curve or slow the spread, flatten the curve. Now it's, we have to eradicate the virus before we can let everybody do anything. And I thought, if you would have asked me in February when all this Corona stuff was happening, that America would have went along with this as far as it has, I would have said you're crazy, and I would have bet every cent I would have had, I would have bet my whole business, everything, that America wouldn't have done this. And I'd be broke and bankrupt because I truly didn't think we'd ever get to this point.
I didn't think we would either. And we were told it was only going to be for a couple of weeks. Now they're saying they have to eradicate the virus. There's no way to eradicate the virus. So under that theory, the lockdown in some form or other is going to continue.
I was watching a Dennis Prager Q&A, And he said, one of the people asked him, he's like, when do you think that it's ever going to be safe to go outside? And he had like the best response. He's like, never. There's always a form of risk walking out of your house, even if you're living in your house. Life is all about risk and risk management and what you determine the risk you want to take. Because like I could walk across the street and get killed by a car. Like some drunk driver could plow into me, or like I could be sitting on my porch and somebody could just walk up and shoot me. Life is just all about the unknown. And when did we get so cowardice? Like when did that happen where the thought of living your life became so terrifying because of some possibility that could exist? And I don't understand this scenario anymore.
Okay, well, I understand exactly what you're saying, and I kind of have the same attitude myself. I'm going to live my life, and I'm an old guy, and I've had a very good life, not in the material sense necessarily, but I've gotten to do a lot of things that were really cool, and I intend to go on doing cool things for as long as possible.
Living a fulfilled life doesn't mean you have to be rich. Like I'm fairly poor. I'm not like that. Well, and I have a fantastic family, and I enjoy my family, and I think that the world of my family, all my relatives, like now that I'm getting older, I'm actually reconnecting with a lot of people that I didn't like, family members that weren't really in the best terms when I was a kid, and it's like I realized how much I missed out by being kind of a douche to them whenever I was younger. And like I said, I don't have lots of money, but I mean, I have a great family. I have my business. I have a wonderful girlfriend. I mean, life is about fulfillment and what you determine. Like, I don't have to be a billionaire to be happy, or even have like $100,000. Like, to me, that doesn't matter. Like, I love doing what I do. I love my family, and I love this country because it allowed me to do all this. And we're just letting it die, and I don't get why.
Fear. But, we're being scared into, cowering before shadows, and it's definitely wrong. I think one of the reasons why some of these TV shows like Mountain Men and Above the Arctic Circle, hacking their living out of the wild, I think the reason those shows are so popular is it does remind us there are different ways of living your life, and involving living life on your own terms. And I'm definitely in favor of that.
Exactly. But you and Claire both have a great day. I'll let you go. Okay, Mike? Bye.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go and switch over to Pat in Fort Worth. Hello, Pat. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. I'm glad you mentioned Bloomberg wanting to pour money into Texas to turn it blue.
Yes.
Well, first of all, people should never look for a candidate under Google. You have to look under Start Page or DuckDuckGo or something, because they shadow ban the Republicans out. And so I just wanted to say that we have a bunch of Christian Hispanic people here running against Hispanic people. We have Elba Camacho here. She's running against Juan Romero down in Austin, and she's amazing. She's a substitute teacher. She knows what's going on in the school. She can't stand it. And she's a homeopathist because she's allergic to everything, so she's not going to be on the side of Big Pharma ever. I mean, she's amazing. Elba Camacho. And we have Fabian Vasquez, Vasquez, and he's an he's a veteran, and he's a businessman, and he's really savvy on everything. He can't do too much because they need money, but I think there's a bunch of them out there that people don't know about. So don't ever look for them on Google. Don't do that. Okay. And another thing they've done in Texas that's going to change things a little bit after Beto ran and told Obama his black and white side, she don't like red, white, blue, that you should vote straight Democrat. Well, they changed it. You can't vote straight party anymore. So you got to know your candidate, so you can even don't vote for the ones that that you don't like when nobody's running against them. Just leave them blank, let you know that undervote count. We don't like you, and I think that's that's something that people need to know, is that that they can't vote straight party anymore. So that's going to keep a bunch of people don't even speak English from just obeying the commands of a guy who's totally Irish. He just forgot to paint his hands white. He painted his face brown, you know. Totally 100% Irish and speaking Spanish and bringing all these people up from the down below to get them up here so they could vote, you know. Democrat, he broke all the laws. And the people around
I'm very concerned about Google shadow banning the GOP candidates. I mean, to me, that's interference in our political process. Far worse than anything. Anyway, we got to let you go and take a commercial break. We got more phone calls when we come back.
Did you know that you can be tracked and traced when you're online? With identity theft and cybercrimes on the rise, your passwords, your identity, and even your physical location can be revealed to complete strangers. Would you like to surf the internet anonymously and not have to worry about these threats? Well, now you can by visiting patriotinternet.com. For about $2 per month, patriotinternet.com will conceal your IP address and your physical location, allowing you to browse the web, send emails, and instant message anonymously. patriotinternet.com will bypass filters, block sites, and keyword blocking. You can also bypass logging by your router and your ISP. With patriotinternet.com, there is no software to install and uses 128-bit encryption for your protection. When using wireless hotspots, patriotinternet.com shields your information from identity thieves and is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Protect your identity and your freedom with anonymous internet access from patriotinternet.com. Visit patriotinternet.com today.
Many people tell us about their experience with Extendivite. Just listen to what Glenn has to say.
Prior to taking it, I had diabetic neuropathy. The Extendivite reduced that significantly. Acid reflux was reduced. I had athlete's foot, very severe. Trimmed that down to about 75%. Dandruff, almost completely gone. I had occipital neuralgia at the base of my skull. I was having migraines, reduced by about 90%. Heart palpitations, my heart would kind of stall out. I would skip a beat, very uncomfortable. And when walking from downstairs going to sleep, by the time I got to the bedroom, which is just one flight of stairs, my heart was pounding, coming out of my chest. My vision was blurry. This completely solved that problem. Great product. Thanks.
Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
The Republic Broadcasting Network late night premiere show of Redfield Hardcore is hosted by activists that want to hear from you, the listeners. So that you can get involved in the activism, please call in at 800-313-9443 at 10 p.m. to enter the discussion. To book yourself as a guest, call our studio at 202-657-5715 or contact RBN staff. Remember, keep it real and take the red pill.
Is the Second Amendment your line in the sand? Is the United States Constitution important to you? Are you worried about gun confiscation? You need to join us for free at gunconfiscation.com. At gunconfiscation.com, you will meet like-minded patriots, get the latest Second Amendment news, and find anything you need to prepare for gun confiscation. Visit gunconfiscation.com today. That's gunconfiscation.com. Which side are you on?
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and
Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go back to the phones to Fred in Michigan. Hello, Fred. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Chris Hinckley airs a segment today from U.S. Senate's Health Committee hearings. Senator Mitty Swine Slime Romney queried Fauci regarding a forthcoming vaccine. And Fauci's first declaration is that based on the extraordinarily effective immune function response of the American people relative to Corona COVID, he suspects there could be an effective vaccine in a year or two. I say, based on his first declaration, none is necessary, and that's well-established scientific fact in all of the microbiome, cell bio, mammalian physiology textbooks, etc. Furthermore, there was a presentation by Del Bigtree, which Chris aired a segment from 30 April. Who is lying to who? Who is lying to who? Highwire, Del Bigtree. This is from the WHO conference last December, in which someone declared there has never been and still isn't any valid, authentic scientific proof of safety and efficacy for any vaccine inoculation, including the 1918 Fort Riley, Kansas pneumococcus pneumonia bacterium, with which all the GIs were shot up with from January through June, and then became disease vectors of the pneumococcus pneumonia bacterium. And that was verified by 9,000 to 10,000 autopsies, Mike. 9,000 to 10,000 autopsies. And some guy by the name of Kevin Barry, who was the super sleuth investigator who discovered all this data at Johns Hopkins 3 or 4 years ago. And Chris said it's at Health Impact News, Kevin Barry at Health Impact News in 2018. It's all about the Fort Riley, Kansas experimental military vaccine gone bad. Can you believe this? And Gates and all the rest, they want to cite a Spanish flu when it wasn't Spanish and it wasn't a flu virus. It was the pneumococcus bacterium that they deliberately inoculated the American GIs, January through June 1918.
Well, it's like what happened in 1976.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, well, it's like what happened in 1976 with the swine flu vaccine. The vaccine killed 50 times as many people as the flu did.
Thank you. Thank you. And you know what, Mike? I can confirm what you just said. My mom took it. The only one she ever took, she nearly died. And she said, yep, never again. Never again.
Good for her, and I'm glad she survived. We have to let you go. We're at the end of the program. Stay tuned for John Stadmiller. He's got an interesting guest on here. Please spread the word of RBN, spread the word of whatreallyhappened.com. Please donate. It is really important right now. And we'll be back tomorrow. No, actually, I'll be back on Thursday. Tomorrow's a replay. Aloha, America.